I'm Mr. Assassin, and this is my list of the top 5 Assassin's Creed games. You kind of should be expecting. I mean, it says right there in the title. I was probably going to talk about it at some point during this video. Anyway, to make things simpler, the newest game released is Assassin's Creed 3. So any games after 3 I'm not going to talk about because this video would have been made before that. Also, I have great news, guys. This is coming out of nowhere, but I am teaming up with my friend Cool Clutch and another friend who doesn't have a YouTube account. He's some other guy. Anyway, we are creating our own Let's Play channel called The Shirley Bro Show. It should be coming up soon. So, here we go. Starting off with... Now, if you're anything like me, this is probably the reaction you had for the teaser trailer for Assassin's Creed 3. Holy crap, is that man climbing through trees? This is going to be awesome. What? Who is he? Who is that man? He looks very... Oh my gosh. Who's that talking in the background? It can't... George Washington! American Revolution flag! This is gonna be epic! Look at that title screen. Nothing bad can possibly happen. And please, let me be the first to say, Connor Kenway is boring as a main character. My god. There are actually multiple reasons as to why I'm not a fan of Connor's character. Number 1, he's just boring. Number 2, for a game called Assassin's Creed, I personally don't think Connor even knows about the Creed or even gives a rat's ass about it. I mean, yeah, everything he does in the game is for his village, which is under threat, but still, in every Assassin's Creed game, they at least mention the Creed and how it affects his life. So far, it's been nothing but his village. And it doesn't even matter. In the end of the game, his village is gone, so every bad character trait about him is still there. If there's one more thing that we complain about the game, it's the control screen, which is completely different from the previous installments, and we all know why they did it. It's for the new people to the series to get used to it, because apparently they were all too complicated before, but that's probably just an issue. Well, those are my complaints on Connor. But what do I love about the game? Well, I love all the new abilities. I love climbing. I love hunting all the animals that are in the frontier. That was really nice. Although I have to say, all the quick time events can be pretty annoying at times, but it doesn't matter. And by God, I love to sail on those boats. I mean, it is really freaking amazing. And you might be thinking, ooh, it's Assassin's Creed, what's it have to do with what? Look at this! It looks beautiful, it looks amazing, the controls are awesome, it feels great. And I did some research on this, and at the very end of the game, Connor was supposed to have some dialogue. He was supposed to give a very good monologue, and I looked this up, found it on YouTube. And it is amazing. It almost makes up for his lack of character because it's truly that good. If possible, I'll try to put a link on this to get to the video, but I am promising you, it is a very impressive monologue for the type of character that Connor is. The continuing scenes have spoilers. Be aware. At first, you play as Connor's dad, Hatham, and you meet up with a guy named Charles Lee. Together, you start up a group of men, and they're all pretty cool dudes, until you find out that...
You are a Templar.
What a twist!
But that shouldn't bother you. I mean, they're still pretty cool guys until you realize that Charles Lee is kind of a douchebag. Look! He's choking a young Connor Kenway. Why did I think he was cool in the first place? So after a tragic accident, which I will dare not spoil, Connor is destined to fight off Charles Lee. So he goes about making new allies, occasionally enemies, and the story begins from here. That's right, it's the one that started it all, Assassin's Creed. Now, you may be thinking, but Mr. Assassin, the controls are so much worse than 3, why'd you put it before it? Well, that's because it's the first game, it gets a pass. Altair is much better than Connor, meaning the problems with the third game are worse than the problems in the first game. Not only that, but the controls are different, so there is an excuse. Also, if one really thinks about it, it's a story about redemption of how one man who used to be at the top of his game got lowered down to a novice and has to redeem himself. That itself is interesting. And besides the lesser controls being the first game and the lesser fight style, it's still a generally fun game. That's right, Assassin's Creed Revelations. And Revelations we did indeed get. Honestly, I don't understand why people hate this game. I mean, the only problem I could really find in separating it from Brotherhood's lovability is that the bomb crafting can be very annoying. I mean, I honestly have a hard time understanding why people have a huge problem with the game. Most of the things they say is simple nitpicking. And one of the best parts is, it's 2 assassins for the price of 1. That's right, you get to play as Altair along with Ezio. And with that said, we also get to see how both of them end their lives as assassins. And it truly is a nostalgic feeling if you played all 3 games before this. Look at this shot right here with Altair. Amazing. And do I even need to talk about how the hook blade is awesome? Think about it, it helps you climb even higher much quicker. You can swing from place to place by grabbing onto other things. And, best of all, zip lining. Awesome. I like to think best to show you about my feelings on Brotherhood is by showing you the trailer. Awesome. And the game is so much more awesome than just that. I mean, think about it, this is different from the other 2. It was truly amazing being able to take the offensive for once, instead of having to block and counter everything. Some people might like the old way better, but not me. The apprentices were awesome, especially the way you can just kill everyone using arrows. There are just so many great things about it. The villain is pretty cool and almost complex, and the Da Vinci missions are awesome. I love them probably most because these were actual designs by Leonardo da Vinci. And as for the flying one, it's just nice to fly on it again after the second game and all. Overall, this game is simply amazing. It is one of my favorite games, probably one of my top 10. However, there is still one greater.
It is a good life we lead, brother.
The best. May it never change.
And may it never change us.
How could I not put Assassin's Creed 2 on the #1 spot? I'll give you 2 reasons why I did. Number 1, nostalgia value. And number 2, because of the story. And the character Ezio Auditore. The nostalgia comes from how this is the first Assassin's Creed game I played, so that's a lot to it. And the story is awesome, as I mentioned earlier. Let me describe to you the best I could. First off, this is a story of revenge. Now that might not seem like a big deal at first, but what this separates from many other ones is not only is it a story of revenge, but also it's a story about how a character matures throughout a series of years. We're not even told how long this story takes place. Probably around 20 years is what I'm guessing, but I'm not sure. Anyway, this boy's life changes when his family is accused of treason, hanged, thus everything is taken away from him, as he also becomes wanted in his hometown. He tries to fight off unsuccessfully, but this fails, and he is forced into exile. From there on, he has to try to fend for himself. So, doing what he thinks is right, he takes his mother and his sister away from Florence, where he comes across multiple allies and gets some help from certain family members. During this time, he grows much mature. Also, this fight scene that I'm showing you, it goes into one of my favorite lines in the entire series.
You have my thanks.
Keep the sword, Ezio.
Do I know you from somewhere?
Don't you recognize me? It's me, Mario!
So, after skipping, like I said before, 20 years later, Ezio finally comes into contact with the man who's caused all his problems. And as I said before, once again, Ezio has matured to the point in which he doesn't even want to kill the man, knowing that this won't solve his problems about bringing his family back. This is another way of how Ezio is an amazing character. I could go into discussion on how Ezio is an amazing character, but that's an entirely different discussion. And that's the order of the Assassin's Creed games I like most. And what I love best about these games probably is the way it makes you feel like an assassin. I, of course, already knew that because I'm an assassin, but the rest of you guys need to know what it feels like too, so if you haven't played them, just